So then an explosion has hit a convoy carrying Sudan's prime minister in what the government has described as an assassination attempt. Abdalla Hamdok was traveling through Khartoum when there was a roadside blast. The vehicle he was in was damaged, as well as several others. The government says it was a targeted attack and investigations are underway to try and determine who was responsible.
The Prime Minister and the convoy members were not injured. They were all safe, except one person who fell from a motorcycle. The Prime Minister is doing his job now from his office and investigations are underway. We know that there are people who are trying to target the revolution of the Sudanese people and to attack the gains of the revolutionaries, but we stress that revolution is going on and the revolution will continue its path.
Let's speak to Hiba Morgan, who's live for us in Khartoum. Hiba, what more do you have for us?
Well, at the moment, what we know is what we heard from the government spokesperson, the Minister of Information, Faisal Mohammed Saleh, who gave more information about the attack. We know that there was an explosion from a car bomb that was next to, or nearby the convoy of the Prime Minister, and that he was uninjured along with his staff, except for one of the members of the motorcade. Now, we also heard from the government spokesperson that there was shooting at the convoy following the explosion. And this is raising a lot of questions about the security that was with the Prime Minister during his movement from Kober, which is not very far from his office, just a few kilometers. People are wondering why there was a car that was loaded with explosives nearby the convoy. We know that usually the motorcade is, there's usually a traffic police officer that goes ahead, followed by a convoy, and there's usually some distance maintained between the motorcade and the convoy of the Prime Minister, and that no other car is allowed near it. So people are wondering how this security breach happened, and why was the security detail of the Prime Minister very slow to respond. But we've also seen the office of the Prime Minister tweeting out pictures of him in the office and him with several members of his cabinet. There's currently an emergency meeting of the Security and Defense Council. That's the body that is responsible for the security situation in the country, and they're holding an emergency meeting to discuss the attack, which the office of the Prime Minister says is an assassination attempt and deemed it as a terrorist attack.
Hiba, it's clearly been a time of great instability in Sudan and a huge amount of pressure on the economy. Give us a context of this, given all that.
Well, over the past few weeks, Nick, we've seen people lining up for fuel. We've seen people lining up for bread as well. And we've seen the economy in a downward spiral. The inflation has been rising. The value of the Sudanese pound against the dollar has been dropping, making it very hard for many people to afford basic commodities. That has resulted in a lot of frustration. Now, what's not clear is if that frustration is enough for anyone to try to attempt to take out the Prime Minister, who's just 6 months in his job. So people are wondering who is responsible, especially because no side has yet claimed responsibility. But there are a lot of people in the country who are currently discontented with the situation. There's also the former ruling party who have repeatedly put out statements saying that this transitional government does not represent Sudan and is illegal, and that they will try to oust it in any ways or means possible. So a lot of questions about who could be behind the assassination attempt. The Office of the Prime Minister and the government spoke says that there are investigations currently ongoing, but so far no side has claimed responsibility and nobody has been accused.
All right, Hiba, thanks very much indeed. Hiba Morgan reporting there.